Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. So we'll have a little recap first from last week and then we'll proceed.
Manu, please unmute yourself. Manorama Chaudhary, Manu?
Yeah,
please.
Yes, I did. I'm just trying to find my page here. Good morning. Good namaste, Sasiji. As Ranjani ji said, this is a very hard week. Anyway, I hope my voice is good audible. In the third session, we ended with the powerful mantra that is applicable to our daily life, AARP, awareness of our imperishable, eternal nature of Atma, accepting the importance of endurance, readiness in shifting our attitude, how we think is more important than what we think, and develop patience. Obviously, practicing all the above is not easy. So in our fourth session, Lord Krishna continued teaching us Yogaha Karmasu Kausalam, how maintaining equanimity while performing duties brings more efficiency, how maintaining calmness will help avoid distractions and agitations and will increase focus on achieving the larger goal. Then Arjuna asked how to know who is Sthita Prajna. Lord Krishna answers, Sthita Prajna is one who remains happy all the time. Krishna explains, once we understand the true nature of imperishable Atma, we let go the attachments towards the results of our actions while performing duties. That detachment will bring happiness all the time and in every situation. We do need to remind ourselves that the true nature of our Atma cannot be dependent on any Vyakti, Vastu, and Paristhiti to achieve happiness. So the important lesson for me here is I must remember all the time that I am the source of happiness for myself. Sthita Prajna is one not in reactive mode all the time. Here we try to analyze our fear and anger related situations. These are emotions we are bound to feel in given situation, but how to react with calmness. Here we learn the example of tortoise, how it retracts when sees danger. So always buy little time to react. Sthita Prajna is one who should have control over senses and should not have attachment to any behavior or object in particular, because this attachment will lead to desire, and if that attachment shatters, may lead to anger or disappointment. So it is important to reflect and remind ourselves not to outsource our happiness at any given moment. Always remember, joy and peace are always with us. Then we concluded the second chapter on Sankhya Yoga with the example of how a raindrop, once merged with the ocean, becomes one with the ocean. We need to train our mind to stay united with the divine force to realize the divinity within us. So we need to stay undisturbed despite all the distractions of attachments around us, just like the ocean remains undisturbed with merging rivers, streams, or raindrops. Thank you. Hopefully I recapped all of it.
Very good, Manorama. You gave us all the practical points were very well captured, and the goal which we have to sort of look forward to is also very well captured. So, we are moving towards that. It'll take time, but as you said, we need to have that patience, and we surely will get there. So very well done. Thank you so much, Manorama.
Thank you.
So in this session, what are we going to elaborate? This is now the third chapter. This is Karma Yoga, where Bhagwan is going to unite us with the proper knowledge about what type of action and our attitude as far as any duties are concerned. What should be our attitude, and how do we unite with that? And where will it lead me to? That will unite me for something else. But here presently, mainly which action to engage in and what should my attitude to be will be elaborated. So Bhagwan is going to point out to Arjuna, who's trying to escape. He really does not still want to fight. So, but Bhagwan's going to point out, you don't have a choice. And why not, he's going to point out as well. And in also very beautifully, now this is so important. This I think is such a practical chapter for all of us, because this is what we're doing right now, being engaged in activities. So here we'll get a very elaborate meaning of this term yajna. Yajna, what we usually think of as a havan, but Bhagwan is going to explain to us what truly yajna is as far as our daily actions are concerned. So let's see what that is. And then all my actions that I do every day in this beautiful world, where does it fit? What contribution am I making here? Let us see that as well. Okay. So that as Manorama said, what has happened in the second chapter, but to get Arjuna out of his sorrow, Bhagwan first gave him the highest vision, so that it makes one sit up and listen and say, wow, that's me, and there's no destruction to me at all. I'm imperishable, and so are all these people. So Bhagwan gave that vision, and after that he said, in order to get to that, Arjuna, to understand that properly, first and foremost, do your duty, and do your duty with the right attitude, he said. And when you develop that quietude of mind, now this is very important. Keep on hearing the word purity of mind, purity of mind, purity of mind. That means a quiet, undisturbed mind. Let us remind ourselves over and over again. An undisturbed mind is a fit instrument for everything, whether you want to do something in the world outside or in the spiritual path. A quiet mind is very important, right? So after Bhagwan had said that, you do your actions, you'll get your quiet mind, and then you truly will understand how you're that perfected person. You can understand that as well. And so when that happened, Arjuna had asked a question, and Bhagwan had very gloriously glorified this Sthita Prajna, saying, this is how he is in this world. This is how he deals with situations. This is how he deals with people. This is how he deals with objects. Obviously, we'll see more of it in more of the, Bhagavad Gita, but that's the gist of that Sthita Prajna Lakshana that Bhagwan had given. Now, Arjuna, hearing this glorified knowledge, gets very, again, wants to escape. He says, Hare, if this is the signs of a perfected person who's understood their true nature, why don't I just go to that first? Why do I have to engage in this action? If knowledge is such a wonderful state, Bhagwan, why are you asking me to engage in this Ghora karma? And so, not only that, you keep on saying karmane adhikaraste, karmani eva adhikaraste. Your right is only in action, you keep saying. Why is that? When it looks like this path of knowledge seems quite appealing to me, right? So now Bhagwan is going to explain, and first of all, Arjuna is going to ask a question, then Bhagwan is going to explain. So now, Bhagwan has definitely praised this wonderful person who's achieved this perfected nature, right? But it's not like that there's a choice. It's not like that you can either do karma or do jnana. Okay, now you'd see, if you want to go to any higher education courses, if you want to say go to medicine, or do you want to develop something in your software engineering school, go to those schools, or if you want to go to an art school, all of us need prerequisite. You need to do certain courses before you can step into those universities as well. So it's like that. So the first you need those necessary qualifications in your background, and then you can enter those universities. So Lord Krishna is going to tell him, you do need this qualification of a quiet mind. And in your situation, Arjuna, the best way to get that qualification is going to be doing your duty where you are with the right attitude. And when you develop those qualifications of that quiet mind, very naturally, you'll walk into this path of knowledge of the perfected person, and you will gain that knowledge. So it's not like a separate path. It's like if you have to go to somewhere out of your house to a grocery store, you first have to step out of your house. That's a basic necessity. So like that, you really need this first before you go into knowledge, right? Now you can see what has happened to Arjuna. Either he's still not thinking clearly because Bhagwan has explained very gradually everything, or he still is prejudiced. He just does not want to fight this war. He does not want to be involved in that destruction. The understanding of the true nature is still sort of not very clear. Okay, so now we repeat these two shlokas together. This is Arjuna's question. Arjuna uvacha.
Aruna?
Arjuna Vacha
Jayasi chet karmanaste.
Jayasi Chet Karmanaste
Mata buddhir janardana.
Mata Buddhir Janardana
Tatkim karmani ghore mam.
Tatkim Karmani Ghore Mam
Yojayasi keshava.
Niyojasi Keshava
Vyamishreneva vakyena.
Vyamishreneva Vakyena
Buddhim mohayasiva me.
Buddhim Mohavasiyame
Tadekam vada nischitya.
Tadekam Vada Nischitva
Nischitya.
Tadekam Vada Nischitya
Yena shreyo hamapnuyam.
Ena Shreyohamapnuyam.
Bhagwan, if you're praising this knowledge so much and the perfected person so much, right? And you glorified it, and now you're asking me to engage in this war? This is not like an ordinary thing like going and praying in a temple, right? This is actually killing my own family and my relatives. Kim karmani gore mam niyojasi. Why are you asking me to engage in this horrible war, which will mean so much destruction? So he says, and your words are very confusing, Bhagwan. Maybe I did not understand you properly. Maybe I did not. So you know what? You decide. He's telling Bhagwan, you conclusively decide, and you tell me one thing what I should do. You should not be telling me Karmani eva adhikaraste. You have only right in action, doing your duty and nothing more. And then you're saying, this knowledge, is so great. The perfected person handles everything so beautifully in life. Why are you saying this? Bhagwan's like, Arjuna is totally confused, or he doesn't want to do what he's supposed to do, right? So Arjuna's thinking that there are two distinct paths, clear. And he definitely thinks this knowledge is superior to this action. So he says, I'm confused. You decide, Bhagwan. You tell me. Don't give me these two options. You decide what's good for me. Remember, Shreya, what is absolutely good for me? You please tell me that. So now Bhagwan says, Are Arjuna, he says, and he says, okay, next who's going to repeat after me?
Arjuna, are you ready?
Shri Bhagavan
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Lokesmin Vividha Nishtha
Lokeshu Vividada Nishta
Pura Prokta Maya Nagha
Pura Prokta Maya Naga
Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam
Jnana Yogena Shankyanam
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Karma Yogena Yoginam.
He says, Arjuna, you misunderstood. Actually, this karma yoga that I'm not talking to you about is not the usual actions, karmas, okay? It is actually a part of this jnana yoga. You need this, right? It is not like if you need the competence and qualifications to gain this knowledge, first and foremost. Please understand that. And that competence and qualification to enter into any university comes with those preparatory, all those courses that you have to take and pass before you can come there. And therefore, this karma yoga is the right qualification that you need, Arjuna. For Arjuna, this is the right thing. Okay, absolutely necessary. And there's no question of either or here. You cannot say, I want to gain knowledge, or should I gain purity of mind? Knowledge or qualification? No, you need both. To first gain that qualifications through karma yoga, and then you march on to this path of jnana yoga. You're well prepared then. Okay, so that qualification is very important. So Bhagavan says, no either or. And then he says, so it's not two different paths. So Dvividha Nishta, it's a twofold. You have to take this to forego there. So you have to follow karma yoga, and then it will lead you to jnana yoga. And who needs this first initial preparation? All of us. All of us, where we are right now in life, we have to do our duties. There's no escape. We have to do our duties. We all know that. And Bhagwan's going to give us more help as to how we perform those duties in our role and responsibilities with, so that we remain peaceful. So Bhagwan's going to show that. Okay, so there's no either or even for us. Okay, and so Bhagwan says, I'm not contradicting myself, or, you have misunderstood Arjuna, but I have not, contradict myself at all. And, but Bhagwan was wondering, why is Arjuna asking this question? When I've told him so much that he should, engage in this war and nothing will happen to anybody, I explain all those things. Then he suddenly realizes, this state of perfection, he had mentioned they have no desires, okay? And all selfish desires are gone. There is no desire for that person. Maybe he's thinking, if I don't have any desires, I don't have to do any action. Right? Why would you want to engage in action if you don't have any desires? Happily, you can be sitting in one place. Huh? Maybe that's what he's thinking. Maybe he's thinking that's a state of total actionlessness. Somebody will come feed food in the mouth and I'm just sitting like that. Is that what he's thinking? And he says, this stage of perfection cannot be attained without action. You cannot renounce action and get that state. Impossible, Arjuna. Impossible. So then he tells him further, he's going to give very logically, first and foremost, you cannot remain without action. Then he's going to show how, even if Arjuna says, I don't want that perfection state, but I don't want to engage in the war. I just want to remain actionless. How you cannot do even that, he's going to show. And so cornering Arjuna, he says, no way can you get out of action. So why don't you do this? Because I'm going to tell you all the positive points. And then you will attain that quietness and you yourself will march on to that perfected state. So you know what? Now listen, please, he says. The karma yoga which I'm prescribing will give you qualifications. So Arjuna, you perform actions. And then he's told him, just because you think that is, no desires, I'll sit quietly, cannot happen. By renouncing all actions, it cannot happen. Think about it, Arjuna. If you say, I will give up all actions and I'll go away to the Himalayas. I don't even want this perfect state. I don't want to engage in war. I'll go and sit quietly, without doing any actions. What will happen to Arjuna in the Himalayas? He'll get so mad at himself after some time. He'll say, why did I leave that opportunity? Why did I not get justice for my people? Arjuna's blood is boiling as it is. He's faced so much of, injustice. So he won't be able to sit quietly. He'll get mad. He'll start shooting arrows at every tree and every bird, every animal he sees out of his frustration. There's no way he can avoid this action, running away. And also to say that one can remain very still and quiet like a sannyasi without performing any action, absolutely impossible for a human. Even our hunger, to quench our thirst, to satisfy our hunger, we have to get up. That's all actions. And if you still think, no, I'm going to renounce and somebody will come feed me, you're a big hypocrite. One calls them a hypocrite. So he says, I'm going to tell you, Arjuna, your nature, our human being's nature is to act. You cannot sit without action. Act, you must. Okay? And then don't ever think you can get that perfected state of no desires without performing action in the right attitude. That is karma yoga. You do need those qualifications to come to this perfected state. So you please listen to me and listen to what I have to tell you. You have to engage in action. So what is most important here? Now Bhagavan is going to say, now that you know that you have to act, you've been cornered, there's no way you can escape. Know which action to perform and with what attitude. Now you see, this is very important for us because we are always very busy, very happy about saying we are multitask, we do many things. But now Bhagavan's going to say, come on, don't do that. I'll tell you what type of actions you have to get engaged in and with what attitude. And now I told you about this particular shloka beforehand, and I think even the types of karma is in the last session. But let's see this particular shloka and once again understand in what type of karma you and I should get engaged in.
Norma, you are next.
Niyatam kuru karma tvam.
Niyatam kuru karma tvam.
Karma jyayo hya karmanaha.
Karma jyayo hya karmanaha.
Sharira yatra pichate.
Sarira yatra pichate.
Na prasiddhyeda karmanaha.
Na prasiddheda karmanaha.
So the karmas that we have to engage in for Arjuna too, for all of us, for all humans, Bhagavan is saying, Niyatam karma. Last time we discussed Niyatam karma is only obligatory duties which we have to do every day based on our, not only towards ourselves, based on our roles and responsibilities that we have taken. Don't ever say somebody else put it on us. We have taken. We're all independent thinkers. We're all living we think we live in freedom. We are independent, taking up the roles and responsibility based on our thinking. So whatever has come, based on that, we have to do it. And so that is one thing. And the obligatory duties which come to us depending on certain times. That's all Bhagavan says. There's no place, Bhagavan says, for only self-centered karmas, only for me, because it not because you should not gain anything, but Bhagavan saying that because it can lead to frustrations and disappointments, because we put so much of emphasis on what I want and we might not get it. It's a waste of our mental energy and it's not good for you in the long run. That's why Bhagavan says, Kamya karma, keep it aside. Okay, and then afterwards, there's no place for Nishiddha karma. And there is no, of course, you don't have to do Prayaschitta if you don't do Nishiddha. Nishiddha means prohibited actions, not, of human dignity. Okay, anyway. So what are all the karmas that we can do? Bhagavan is saying duty towards our own self, which is to make sure that we take care of our physical body, we take care of our mental environment, whatever, to keep it, with certain actions outside that will help us to keep it calm, intellectually be stimulated, be inspired with, satsangs and with good hobbies, whatever will keep you healthy. Snana, Sandhya, Adhyayana is what it said for the 3 levels of a personality. And each one, of course, has duty to perform at home and at the workplace, in society, at the national level. There are certain things that we have to follow. Those things, please do that. And there's absolutely no room for laziness, no room for prohibited actions, no room for selfish, self-centered actions. What does it mean to you and me? Look at what all you do. Look at what all we do. And let's prioritize. My family, I have to take care because my kids, I'm responsible for them. My family, I have a responsibility. So let that be top priority. Then comes whatever duty that we have taken up. And then certain social obligations that you have felt you can at this stage of life that you can do, you please put that. And rest of it, take a reading pen, cross it off. That's how you simplify life. Simplify the excessive things we sometimes take upon us and are not able to fulfill. When you even just do this, you see how quiet you already become. Because these are the things that I have to put importance on. So simple message of prioritize and simplify. Okay, so good. Got idea which action I should get involved in. Krishna understood. But then what is the attitude? If I take these things, my own duties, and keep on complaining, nobody else does their duties, I'm the only one who does duties. That's not a good attitude to have. Not a good attitude. It'll only lead to anger and frustration. So Bhagavan's going to say, you have to engage in the right attitude as well. And that attitude, he's going to say, is serving God. Now, people might say, I have slight difficulty here. What is a serving God? Do I have to keep on saying, Krishna, Krishna, I serve you every minute. Rama, Rama, I serve you every minute. Devi, Devi, I serve you. What is this? Don't worry. Bhagavan has clear explanations for everything. So we don't have to despair, okay? Keep this thing in mind. Say there is a household and there's a servant working in that household and he's working for a master. So the master might say, please take my clothes for dry cleaning, go bring some vegetable, okay, go mail this in the post office or go do this in the UPS office, whatever he might say. All the tasks that that person is doing is for this master. So here the underlying principle is all the tasks that we are engaged in right now is towards that God. And why? Why is God the master? Why is God the master? We'll see. And we'll understand to the extent we can. If not, I'll give another explanation which might make it easier for you all to also think about. Okay, the next sloka.
Seemaji, next.
Yajñārtat karmanonyatra
Yajnat tatkarmano yatra
lokoyam karma bandhanaha
lokoyam karma bandhanaha
tadartham karma kaunteya
tadartham karma kaunteya
mukta samachara.
mukta sanga samachara.
So far, Arjuna has been convinced that he has to act. He has no choice. And he only has to do his duties. No choice. Same to us, all of us. Now, Bhagavan is going to tell us the attitude. How do you perform this attitude? So Bhagavan is saying, you should do it for any actions only for yajna. Yajna? What yajna? Is that havan? That, sitting around and offering oblations and chanting mantras in that smoke-filled room? Don't worry, Bhagavan's going to explain. But in the Sanskrit, this word yajna is so beautiful. And the beauty of Sanskrit is that same word can mean so many things. Is it the person who's performing the yajna? Yes, I'll give you a definition which fits that, for that person. Really? Yes. What about the offering that I do? That yajna, I'll give another definition, which also means offering. What about the altar of worship? Whoever Vishnu, I'm offering everything. I'll give you a word which will also mean that Vishnu. What about this whole act? I'll give you the same word yajna will also mean that. That's the beauty of the Sanskrit language. Beauty of the Sanskrit language. So here, let's just look at the one who's worshipped, because we're saying whatever action you do, you offer it to that Lord. You worship it as, offer it as a worship for Bhagavan. So here he's saying the word ijyate anena. You don't have to know all this. All I'm trying to say is the beauty of the Sanskrit language. And here the altar of worship, the one you're going to be worshipping through your action, is also the Lord. Ijyate anena asau. So yajnartat means do all your actions for the sake of God. Okay. Why do we say God? Who's most worshipful in life? Okay. If you say all the wealth that you have, God is possessing all this wealth on this entire universe. Who's the most knowledgeable? It is Bhagavan. Who's the most righteous? It is Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is the ultimate. So really, truly to be worshipped, we worship people with power. We worship means love and hold them with respect. So you worship people with power, you worship people with wealth, we worship people with knowledge, right? We look up to them. Now, if Bhagavan has everything, obviously he is the right altar for us to offer. And if somebody has given you everything, for example, somebody presents me with a wonderful, a set of bangles, let's say gold bangles. And I'm like, thank you so much. But who gave me this hand on which I can wear these bangles? Who has given me this life which is supporting this hand right now? You can't really say it's the parents. The mother took care of you in the sense you were in their womb, in mother's womb, but she had no control. We have no control of protection of the child or giving that life to that child. So everything has come from Bhagavan. So Lord Krishna is saying, you dedicate it in the spirit of yajna, means offer it to the altar of worship, and the most worshipful is Bhagavan, you might say. But some people might say, I don't understand this God concept so much. Sometimes it confuses me to say, pray to, Krishna, pray to Rama. It's hard for me. I've not grown up with that thinking. It's okay. What really means do something for the total good. Be it in the society, be it in the community, include more and more. Initially, it might be our family, but please expand yourself, because it's not just only family on this universe. There's a big, huge family here. And Lord Krishna is now going to show how we expand our mind, to include more and more, and why we as humans should do it. So the attitude now, you see, when I do any work, should be not only for myself. We understood that. So that may my family, everybody benefit, may all be happy, may no one suffer, sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, you expand. That should be the attitude when we work. What will I get out of this? Will I, at the end of this, will I have this? Will I stop that? He says, this is the spirit with which you should work. And I'll tell you why we humans should do that for your peace of mind. And please learn from something I'm going to show you, because you are the crown of creation. You are the people. He's telling all of us, you are the ones who has this ability to think, to make choices, and make this place, this world, a better place for yourself and for everybody. Okay. So do for the sake of total good. Okay. So again, capturing everything. Once again, please, let's always keep the train of thought, because it's so logical. Krishna is not putting any shloka out of place. We all agree that we should do the duties based on our roles and responsibilities. He also is showing us that our attitude should be devotion and dedication to God. If I don't understand that, for a larger good. Initially, it might be family, because that's where we are sort of, moving on. But please, as we grow, in our life, include more and more. And the thing which is very beautiful about this is, listen, even as you have little children, as they start growing up, develop another type of larger interest. Get involved in teaching, education for children might be your passion. Feeding, the poor might be a passion. Serving in a local community might be a passion. Helping in the old people's home might be a passion. Whatever. And it's a very nice bridge when the kids leave home. You have something more beautiful and expansive to hold on, and not hold on to those kids. So these are all lessons. Okay. Now, Bhagwan now takes us to another line of thinking, because we now will truly understand what this yajna is some more. Let's see. So these two shlokas together. Saha yajna praja srishtva.
Saha yajna praja srishtva.
Purovacha prajapatihi.
Purovacha prajapatihi.
Anena prasavishyadvam.
Anena prasavishyadvam.
Yeshavostvishta kamadhuk.
Yeshavo svishta kamadukha.
Devan bhavayatanena.
Devan bhavayatanena.
Te deva bhavayantu vaha.
Te deva bhavayantu vaha.
Parasparam bhavayantaha.
Parasparam bhavayantaha.
Shreya paramavapsyatha.
Shreya paramavapsyata.
He says, Arjuna, when the creation started, the creator brought this whole thing out of yajna spirit. What? Creator brought all this out of yajna spirit? Yes. Because, there was only the creator, and he himself has become everything. Means he sacrificed himself to become everything. This is what we say in our Vedanta, but we'll understand it as we go along. At this point, understand the creator was there, sacrificed himself or herself or itself, and brought this entire universe into place. So that Lord himself or herself started it with that, started with, process of sacrifice. Now he's saying, you worship the gods, okay, and they in turn will bless you. I really don't understand this, Bhagwan. If I worship that God, they'll bless me. How do I know all this? I'll tell you what. You wanted Shreyas, right, Arjuna? You did ask me right away. Please tell me what is absolute good for me. I'm telling you now, This is the way you can achieve Shreyas. You worship the God and they'll bless you. So both of you mutually benefit. You pray to God, God will bless you. Looks like a transaction, Bhagwan. No, 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 no. I'll explain what I mean. I'll explain what I mean. So Bhagwan is going to explain. Let's be patient. What he's going to say is, if you do not follow the spirit of sacrifice that I have set in motion, which is going to benefit not only the gods, just understand it like that right now, it'll benefit you as well. If you keep on taking everything from this world and not give back, sorry, Arjuna, I have a very harsh word for such people. He calls them stena, means you're thieves, he says. Strong word for people who just keep taking and not giving back, meaning you have to also, sacrifice. You also have to sacrifice is what the Lord says. And he's telling Arjuna, these instructions have come actually from the Creator and you must follow it. Now, what Creator? Where? I have never met the Creator. And where does it say so? In the Vedas, Arjuna. I'm free. Sorry, Bhagwan. I've not even touched the Vedas. So I have no idea what the Vedas says. So how am I to follow all these things? All right, Arjuna. You please observe nature. If you don't know the Vedas and if you don't believe me when I say the Creator said this, you please just observe nature. And he says in these two shlokas now, Annad bhavanti bhutani.
Aruna, do you want to go next? Aruna Ganti?
1 second, 1 second. Annad bhavati bhutani.
Annad bhavanti bhutani.
Annad bhavanti bhutani.
Parjanyadanna sambhavaha.
Parjanyadanna sambhavaha.
Yajñād bhavati parjanyaha.
Yajñād bhavati parjanyaha.
Yajña karma samudbhava.
Yajña karma samudbhava.
Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi.
Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi.
Brahmakshara samudbhavam.
Brahmakshara samudbhavam.
Tasmat sarvagatam brahma.
Tasmat sarvagatam brahma.
Nityam yajne pratishtitam.
Nityam yajne pratishtitam.
Okay, Arjuna, you don't believe the Vedas because you've not read it. Not that you don't believe, you've not read it. And this Creator setting this in motion and that you have to obey. Okay, you don't understand, but I'll tell you, you just look around, please. Aren't every creature born because of food? Agreed. If a mother does not take care of the baby by proper nourishment, and does not feed herself, the womb, baby doesn't survive in the womb. And each one of us, only by the amount of food that we are eating, are we sustained. So he says, look, food is, every person is sustained by food. Okay, where does food come from? Unless there's proper rains, you don't get grains. Therefore, there's no food. So rain falls. And so he goes through this cycle, through the cycle. And now he says, suddenly he introduces a word. He says, and the rains come because of yajna. And all of us will say, nope, I have not done any rains for, the yajna for rains, you might say. But what is he's actually saying, when you offer something, okay, and then there's something else which comes. Now, what do we mean? This is where we understand this concept of Homa and what yajna means properly. And you see what far implications this has, okay? So just looking in our nature, the sun, which gives up its light and heat, gives up means sacrifices. And then the waters give up their liquid nature and evaporate. So they are also sacrificing. They become clouds. The clouds don't hold it for themselves. They also shed all the water down. So they sacrifice. They're no longer clouds, they sacrifice. When it falls on the earth gives all her nutrients. And then the nutrients are gathered by the plants, and the seed transforms itself. It's no longer a seed, sacrifices its form. So on and so forth. You just observe. Everywhere there is this spirit of sacrifice. Sacrifice. You watch. Just watch nature, he says. See the whole wheel of action that has been set in motion right from creation for the benefit of all. So much activity in nature is for the benefit of all. So you too, humans, you also play your role. And here you see when you do Agni, Swaha, Idam Mamama, and pray to Varuna, pray to Agni, pray to all these gods. What are we doing? We're worshipping that gods, we're respecting that gods, and we're saying, this is not mine, and we're also sacrificing. Sacrificing something, whatever you're giving. What it truly means, you please look at all the forces of nature. You take care of those forces of nature. Meaning, please do not pollute earth. Please do not pollute air. Please do not pollute the waters. This is our worship. This is our respect to nature. And when that happens, will nature not be kind to us? This is the Parasparam Bhavayantam. You see, we are the crown of creation. Right from when has Bhagwan told us to take care of environment? Right from when? Our scriptures tell us from the ancient times, just by observing everything, this is yajna. This is the true yajna spirit, where we live with respect and renunciation. Give up something of yours so that everybody can benefit. Everything can benefit. Nature can benefit, so that nature can take good care of you. You take care of others and be part of this larger circle where everybody benefits. So this is the way Lord Krishna is elevating us from where we are sometimes, just from me to my family, to expand ourselves. So doing our duties and roles where we are with the right attitude in your family, please move into a bigger circle and don't stay there. Look at this whole creation. And you please take care of everything by the spirit of yajna. And you see how the world will be afterwards. Nobody need not have fought for climate change and things like this. If Lord Krishna's words were heeded right from the beginning. Unfortunately, we have this capacity to independently think, which has been misused. Otherwise, Bhagwan is just asking us to look at everything in nature and rise to our high potential right here, just doing our duties. Such a person who's able to do this life, just doing what we're doing in the right spirit, we'll be peaceful. With that, what happens? We will gain that knowledge. And then we'll be balanced all the time. We'll handle things even better after that, only bringing our best, manifesting that divinity. Okay. So now what happens? Arjuna will still have a question in his mind, and as the Bhagwan will answer, we'll go to that in the next session. But today, what we looked at as a summary, we have to have this qualification in order to get our, understand my true essence or our true essence. For that, right now, for all of us, doing our duties and responsibilities and with the right attitude is most important. You do need to act. There is no way any one of us can remain without action. Act we must. So where do we have a choice? Which action I want to do? With what attitude I want to do? Yes, we have a choice there. We have a choice. Okay. And so Bhagwan has told us, do your niyata karmas. And please act with this beautiful yajna spirit, a spirit of sacrifice, work for total good. Because this is how everything has been set up in creation, so as to benefit everybody, for everybody's prosperity, and that is absolute good shreyas at this level. Let us learn from nature. Let us put that into our thinking now and expand ourselves. So this beautiful chapter of Karma Yoga, we'll still have a few shlokas. Bhagwan doesn't stop. He'll show us why. We'll see. That's a secret for next week. Okay. Let me just stop share afterwards and then. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.